Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So let's talk about Bitcoin and how it forms the perfect setup for a rally in Q4. That's right. Even though we've had a lot of things hold Bitcoin back, and some are quite surprises actually. And I'm going to explain what they are, but overall, we are in good shape. Let me talk about it. And you know what? Tonight I'm going to cover a few projects I normally do not cover. So you're in for a surprise. All right. Let's do it. Welcome, guys. Let's see here. We are right now at 62.3, basically the same as this morning. We haven't moved much, up and down, going sideways, some greens, but overall we've been going sideways. Okay, like I said, we've had a lot of things holding us back, a lot of major events, geopolitical stuff, a lot of things happening, but you know, some surprises. One of them being the U.S. market today was pretty green. In fact, NASDAQ was very green. We had a lot of big movers today. NVIDIA was a big mover. Robinhood, huge mover. In fact, 52-week high. MicroStrategy, big mover. And surprisingly, it did not propel Bitcoin and crypto upwards. That is a surprise. Not in a good way, right? Because a lot of us always complain like, oh, Bitcoin's too coupled to the stock market. Well, today was one of those days we wish it was coupled. Why didn't it go up? It was almost like people were buying up stocks because of how good they were, right? So today was a little surprising that, at least to me, that Bitcoin and crypto was not affected at all by the tech rally. However, you know, we have other things going on, so that may be the case, and I'll explain what they are in a little bit. But one big thing is this still right here. Hurricane Milton about to strike soon tomorrow, and that is still a major concern. Now, I see a lot of insensitive people, you know, trying to make fun of the fact that I've been talking about it and saying, what is this? Is this the Weather Channel? I mean, come on. This is a big story. A lot of people are in Florida. The devastation is going to be absolutely enormous, as much as $175 billion. So this is definitely big news. And plus, you know, not only are a lot of people going to get hurt, but this is going to be a major catastrophe, and who knows how this is going to affect markets, right? And this could have devastating effects. So this is why I've been covering it for the past couple of days now, right? And hopefully the estimates in terms of damages are over, not under, right? Hopefully this passes through and nothing happens. That's the best case scenario. But we have seen previous hurricanes cause a lot of wreckage, so hopefully that is not the case. But yeah, I do think this could definitely affect markets going forward, depending on how good or bad or neutral it is. So that's why I've been covering it. But a lot of people's like, what is this, a crypto channel or a weather channel? You know, it's like, guys, chill, all right? This is major news if you're in the US. All right, so we still got one more day until that hits. What else is there? There's also this. So this may be one of the reasons why Bitcoin did not go up, because of, you know, even though today tech rally, why didn't go up? So there is some fear that there is about $4.3 billion worth of Bitcoin, $69,000 worth, that the U.S. government can now sell from their, I guess, reserves that they confiscated from the Silk Road, right? I don't know what I don't know the details of it, but I guess there was some investment company that that claimed ownership of 69,370, and they brought the court case up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court denied it. So now, basically, the U.S. government controls that 4.3 billion. So that means the U.S. government can now sell it off, right? But the thing is, I mean, they hold a lot more than that. The U.S. government holds 203,000. So out of the 69,000, which a lot of people are concentrating on, there's still like 130,000 that could have sold off already, which they haven't. So I don't know. It's like, it's kind of a weird FUD scenario where a lot of people are like, okay, the U.S. government could sell off 69,000 Bitcoin, but you know, there was still 130,000 they could have sold off, but they never did. So I don't know. Are they going to sell off? Are they not going to sell off? No one knows at this point, right? But there is some fear about this. But let's keep in mind, worst case scenario. Let's just say the U.S. government decides to sell 69,000 Bitcoin away. You know what other country recently sold off a ton of Bitcoin? Germany. Like this guy said, Germany sold 50,000 Bitcoin recently at $62,000. And where are we now? $62,000. So we didn't move at all. So if the U.S. government decides to sell 69,000, yes, a little more than 50,000. Will it move the price? Maybe a little bit. Will the price recover? Yes. Right? So it's not the end of the world, and there's no guarantee that they will. Just because they have it doesn't mean that they will. Remember, one side, one candidate said that they want to take all this and put it into a reserve and call it a strategic reserve and use it to pay off our deficit someday, right? And if that's going to be the case, there's no reason for the Department of Justice to be selling off all the Bitcoin now, right? If you think about it, I mean, there's really no reason to sell off. And even if you sold all of it off, which is worth $12.6 billion, which sounds like a lot, $12.6 billion is not even considered a drop in a bucket when you consider our deficit is $35 trillion. It's not even 1%. It's not even anywhere close to 1%. So what does it really do for our government? Nothing. Zero. Nada. But yeah, there's some FUD around this, so I just want to address it. Will the government sell it tomorrow? Maybe. Maybe not. Will they sell it ever? Maybe not. I mean, they've been holding at 200,000 for like 10 years now. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. So who's to say that they're going to sell it anytime soon, right? Now, here's an interesting fact. Even though it seems like the U.S. government holds a boatload worth of Bitcoin, guess what? Fun fact. BlackRock, MicroStrategy, Grayscale, even with Grayscale's dumping, these three companies hold more Bitcoin than the U.S. government, right? Okay, Bosman Bing says, when Germany sold, it dropped from 64K to 54K. But where are we now? We're not at 54K, okay? We recovered. So calm the F down. And don't at me. You know me. Anyone that ats me irritates me, so don't do it. So, interesting fact. These three entities that are obviously not as big as the U.S. government, but they all hold more than the U.S. government, right? So, if you put it into perspective, the U.S. government actually doesn't hold all that much, right? So, once, we'll get to a point. Once the governments around the world actually start like hoarding Bitcoin like they do gold, when they get into a war of like hoarding Bitcoin and they spend their trillions doing so, just imagine then what the price of Bitcoin will be then, right? It's going to be absolutely insane. When private companies right now can hold more Bitcoin than the government, that shows you how little our government actually holds right now. It's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket, like I said, right? But one day it's going to change. It's going to change. Just watch. The US, Russia, China, they are going to get in a war of accumulation, right? Who's going to hold more Bitcoin? It's going to come. Fidelity bought over 100 million Bitcoin in the past 24 hours, obviously through ETFs. ETFs were huge yesterday. Today, not so much. Yesterday had 235 million. Today, Fidelity had almost 50 million exodus, but the others, not so much. Almost all zero. Nothing from BlackRock yet. We will see tomorrow. Maybe they still had a big inflow day, right? But overall, inflows more than outflows, right? Again, a lot of accumulation at this point, especially from the big boys, the institutions and whales. There's no doubt about it. Now, there is something going on with MicroStrategy, and I think you guys know it, and I've been showcasing it in the mornings. MicroStrategy is going through, I guess, what it's called. This is called a gamma squeeze. MicroStrategy is going up and up and up. Now, it's getting to a point where it's about equal to its previous high in March, right? It's actually like a precursor to what Bitcoin is going to do. But it is going up and up and up. It's having a huge squeeze right now. It is only 2% from all-time high. And this Bitcoin strategy that Michael Saylor has implemented has made his stock surge 1,200% since 2020. While Bitcoin has only gone up 445%. So you could say MicroStrategy has been a leverage play of Bitcoin. And if you think about it, it makes sense because Saylor has been taking out loans, which once upon a time was deemed very, very stupid and idiotic. He took out large amounts of loans and sold large amounts of securities to buy Bitcoin with, right? Or security notes, I should say. And that was seen very, very stupid back in the day. But now it's looked at upon as a genius move, right? So, I mean, MicroStrategy is just like going in a different direction right now. But here's the thing. I see MicroStrategy as a precursor to what's going to happen with Bitcoin. MicroStrategy is going through that gamma squeeze, right? It's seeing what Bitcoin is going to do in the future. October is still in play. Even though it seems like October has been forever, today is only the 8th. We only started the first day of the second week. Okay, that's the important thing. We barely got through the first week. So we still have a full 3 weeks to go. So MicroStrategy is showing us what is to come for Bitcoin and what is to come for the remainder of this year, right? And despite that, Bitcoin is still outperforming pretty much every other sector besides MicroStrategy, outperforming the S&P 500, outperforming the Dow Jones, outperforming gold in a big way. Since 2012 to 2023, forget about it. Forget about it. Right? And lastly, there are a lot of charts. I show you guys a lot of charts. A lot of bullish charts, a lot of fractal patterns, a lot of signals, right? We are perfectly set up. Okay, we are perfectly set up. We just have to have more patience. Right now, like I said, we have a lot of things brewing that are fantastic, but we are being held down by some geopolitical stuff and macro stuff and internal stuff in the United States, kind of holding us back, but we will get through it. And once we do, it's going to be glorious, just like all previous cycles, just like 2021, just like 2017, just like 2013. It's going to come. And when it comes, it's going to come very fast, very hard, very long. And I don't know where we're going to end up. All right, maybe $200, $250, $300,000 by the end of 2025. And maybe we go even higher than that. Who knows? Who knows? All right. So that's Bitcoin. Let me talk about a couple projects I normally don't talk about, but I think you guys might find them interesting. One that actually relates to Bitcoin, and that is Core. So this is an interesting project because I talk a lot about Stacks, which is layer 2, which is like a programmable like chain for Bitcoin. Core, in a way, is the same thing. It's bringing EVM compatible contracts, right? And making it secured by Bitcoin. So it's kind of in the same footsteps, but it's kind of not. And they are very, very, very concentrated in DeFi. So they're kind of in the same realm of Stacks, but operate a little bit differently. But recently I saw, actually they came out with something that's quite genius. A lot of people have said, you know, with Bitcoin, it's not like a lot of crypto where you can stake and get rewards, right? You can stake Cardano, you can stake Solana, you can stake Avalanche, you can stake crypto, but you can't stake Bitcoin. You have to mine it, right? But Core has figured it out. A non-custodial Bitcoin staking where you actually yield Bitcoin and you don't actually have to give it up. So they figured out a non-custodial staking, and you don't actually have to give it up in any way at all. And it stays on the blockchain. It stays on the Bitcoin blockchain. So it's actually a really new way of doing it. And I don't even know how it really works, but it's quite amazing. Basically, you time lock it on the network, and that's it. You're not sending it away. It stays on the Bitcoin network. And all you're doing is time locking and you're choosing a validator on the Core network. But it stays in your wallet, it never leaves, and it stays on the Bitcoin network. And basically, you're just time locking to a validator to help secure the network. I've never heard that before. This is the first project that I've seen that happen. So it's actually quite interesting. So first time you could actually do that. So that, you know, that kind of shows you Core is really concentrating on DeFi and combining like EVM, basically EVM, DeFi, and Bitcoin together. So they brag they have about 5,700 BTC staked. So that's roughly like $330 million. And again, that's like not leaving people's wallets. That's still staying in people's wallets. So it's quite amazing. And plus they have their own token, which you can stake, which gives you like double staking. So according to them, it's like a dual staking thing, which is actually quite interesting. Again, like for people that love DeFi, you get dual staking, and it's just like something that, you know, quite interesting. But for Bitcoiners, I know a lot of people are just like total Bitcoin maxi people. It's like everything else is a shitcoin except Bitcoin. This is kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting. All right. Outside of Core, there is one other project that a lot of people like, and I don't quite understand it, but, you know, I'm trying to give it a shot. And that's Polkadot. A lot of people ask me about Polkadot all the time, right? Like, what's going on with Polkadot? Is it going to survive? Is it going to come back to all-time high? Well, I'm trying to give it a shot, and I'm trying to like see the positives in Polkadot. So I've decided to look at their not Telegram, their Twitter, and I see a couple things that they're doing. Number one, and this came out recently, their inflation rate. Their inflation rate is 10%, and now they're going to decrease it to 8%. So they had a vote, and 77% of the voters say that, hey, they want less inflation. Keep in mind the staking rewards I just got done talking about, right? A lot of people love staking rewards and they love getting their 8% or 10%. Keep in mind, that's basically just an inflation. Whatever you're getting, it's just the inflation rate of the chain. So if you're decreasing inflation from 10% to 8%, that means your rewards in the future is going to decrease too. So, but decreasing inflation is important, right? Like when there's no buying power, you definitely want the inflation to be less. Otherwise, you're just going to inflate to nothing. Just like fiat, just like dollars, the whole point of Bitcoin is because fiat inflates to nothing, right? So with crypto, it's kind of the same thing. If you don't have buying power, if no one's buying it and no one's using it, well, then inflation is bad. So I guess this is a step in the right direction to decrease. And then I saw this from Polkadot. Where else can you get 3.5 billion shared economy security and trustless interoperability with 6-second latency at such a low cost? Cost of security on Polkadot, $237 versus cost of security on Optimism, $13,000. And then cost of base, $20,000, cost of Arbitrum, $113, and cost of Polygon, $137. I have no idea how they got these numbers. That sounds insanely wrong, but I'll take their word for it. I have no idea how they came up with that. I really don't. But there are other things besides complicated stuff like this. They are working on other stuff. For example, they are working on games, right? Games, obviously a big part of Web3. I saw they are coming out with this multiplayer strategy game called Play NFL Rivals, right? Own your dream team, dominate rivals. And this one is already on the App Store, Google's store, kind of like a fantasy thing, right? So they are coming out with, I should say game makers are coming on. Here's another one called Enter the Mythos. It's a chain, cross-chain infrastructure, evolving NFT gaming, integrating gaming guilds, collaborating with traditional gaming platforms. And this one looks like it has a ton of accounts already. 4.5 million accounts, daily active, 1.1 million. So, you know what? As long as Polkadot can still onboard games, onboard users, right? And continue to improve their chain, well, then they could do just fine this cycle, right? I don't hear a lot about them, but if they continue to do what they're supposed to, which is just to build and build and build, then they're going to do just fine. There you go. All right, so I did something different today. Covered two projects I normally don't cover. All right. Let's do some Q&A. Man, I would love to see some action. Like I get jealous because, you see like MicroStrategy go up and up and up and up and every day. But like Bitcoin is not moving. I'm waiting for Bitcoin to start moving like MicroStrategy. It's going to happen. It's just right now, Bitcoin is being suppressed and stubborn, but it's just around the corner. Just gotta wait for it. SB Flacco. Were you being so bearish about Crypto.com until they became a partner? No. I'm still not a fan of their chain. I've always said that. I said nothing wrong about their exchange, their cards, but I'm still not a fan of their chain, of their DeFi projects, which I still think is scammy. I've said that from day one, and I'll still say that now. So don't try to be like, oh, I gotcha. No. Let me scroll up. Let me see if I missed anything. HBO just dropped a documentary. You know this new Satoshi documentary on HBO? Is it like per episode, or is like the whole thing dropped? Because supposedly they uncovered Satoshi, and I don't know if it's real or not. A lot of people are talking about it. So those of you guys that watched it, you let me know. Is it like per episode, or like everything came out at once? I do have MicroStrategy. I do have MSTR, but not a whole lot. Not you know, like everything I have is in crypto. I have very little in stocks. So when stocks go up, it's great, but like it doesn't really move the needle for me. So I really like do want to see, yeah. Did you see the latest Joe Rogan podcast today? It goes super duper hard. Ooh, who's the guest? Who's the guest? It's all speculation. HBO just wants more subs, so they don't reveal who Satoshi is. Buy Scabam in the Sui network. Yeah, I'm not gonna look at that. Ricky, thoughts on Metis and price prediction? You know, I've heard a lot about Metis only because of Dreamer and DFK. There's a big partnership because they are launching PvP. There's a PvP Coliseum that's going on Metis, and there's a tight relationship there. Outside of that, I don't know anything else that's going on Metis. I know Vitalik's mom's there. It's supposed to be the most decentralized L2 out there, but like I don't know of any other dApps or anything that's residing on Metis. So I don't know. Popcat or Rune, if you had to pick one, probably Popcat, because I don't know anything about Rune. A lot of people I see keeps asking about Turbo, so I'll look it up. Turbo, 20%. You know, here's the thing, guys. Like, you know, you got a lot of people that's excited, and it's up 20%, and then you're like, George, pull it up, it's 20%. Like, okay. What is the purpose? So is the purpose of me pulling it up so that you want me to pull it up and get others to FOMO in on it? Is that the purpose? Because I've never understood that. It's not going to change my mind on Turbo. But if the purpose is to get me to pull it up and cause FOMO with others, then I'm going to stop doing that. And I'm going to stop listening to people that try to get me to do that. And I'm going to remember those that are trying to get me to do it. Turbo is just like any other meme created supposedly by AI, and you know, there's no good or bad to it. It's just a meme. There's really nothing to say about it. Um, have I ever gone to BlackRock Wealth Management to see how hard they push their ETFs on clients? No, but I showcased their their slide recently where they basically just pitch what Bitcoiners have been pitching for a long time. I don't know if that's what you mean, or have you actually gone and heard them? Can you review Dog Rune? No, I cannot. Um, what's the best way to tip so you get the most? Um, there's no best way. There's no best way. I appreciate the super chat, but there's no best way. YouTube's just go take most of that anyways. George, do you feel like you're fulfilling your life purpose? No, I don't really know what my life purpose is. I don't think anyone truly knows what their life purpose is. Maybe. I take that back. I think some people do know what their life purpose is. I'm not sure I know what my life purpose is. If you could interview Do Kwon, what would you ask him? Nothing. Not an interview I'm interested in. Tactum is doing big things. Sure. Supposedly the fastest blockchain in the world. Something like that. Sure. Okay. Big things. Tell me what those big things are. Where did you get your chair from? Costco. Costco. You know what's funny about life purpose? Like, I was in front of my fish tank today, and my wife was saying, like, look at the fish. You know, all they do is swim around. They don't really do anything. I mean, if you think about it, that's what life is. Even as humans, we think we got a lot of stuff to do, but ultimately, we're just doing the same thing every day over the years. Ultimately, what is life's purpose? Do any of us really know what our life purpose is? Carpo, you asked the question twice. Do you think BTC dominance will ever come down with the institution they be in? Will alts ever pump hard again? Yes, I do. I don't know. Bitcoin dominance is already pretty low, 56.6%. It's not as high as before. Previous cycles, it was more like 70%. So, you know, can dominance go down to like 50%? Even going down by that 6% is a big deal. So I'd say, yeah, it could definitely go down, but are we going to see a significant, huge drop? Probably not as big as before. Purpose is to strive for perceived presence. No. Believe and serve God as much as you can before you leave this earth. That's a purpose. No, I don't believe that. No. You need a personal relationship with Christ to discover your God-given purpose. I don't believe that either. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Listen, if you create something, okay, you don't need that something to worship you. Like, you know, that might anger a lot of you guys, but just think about it logically. You create something, you don't need that creation to worship you. Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah. So this whole notion, that doesn't make sense to me. Life's purpose is to build and love your family and make your community a better place while you're here. I guess, yeah. But a lot of people don't have family. So, I mean, making the community better, that I guess could be a good purpose. Or just making the world a better place, I guess. You know, but some people's mission is not to make a world a better place. Some people's purpose could to make it a worse place. Because without evil, there's no good, right? So maybe some people's purpose is to just make it bad. Ninebreaker. HBO baited everyone for subscriptions. That guy that claimed his Satoshi is just denied it on X. Actually, the glory of God is to bring to pass the eternal life of man, not get worshipped. See, that makes sense. That makes sense. Your life's purpose is to teach people the art of DCA HODL on the way to financial freedom. I guess that's what I've been doing, but I don't know if that's my true purpose. Okay, everyone that keeps saying I fart on stream, it's not. I move around in my chair and it makes noises. Okay, chill, people. If that's not what your true purpose is, why are you doing it then? That's a stupid question, man. That's like asking you, why do you do anything? Why do you work if it's not your true purpose? A lot of people do stuff that's not their true purpose because they have to. Washing my clothes is not my true purpose. But I need to do it. The true G in crypto, I appreciate that. From another George. All right, I'm going to end this deep conversation chat. All right, guys. So hang in there. Tomorrow's another day, another chance for greatness, another chance for the rally that we're looking forward to in October. All right. So stay strong, my friends. I will see you guys tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.